Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about bunk beds, exercising, and we have part one of our interview with Kevin Gaskell, the author of the book Inspired Leadership.
Welcome one and all to another episode of... Why are you laughing at me?
One and all.
Yeah.
That was like the circus announcer. There was
Welcome, one and all.
that's it.
Another episode of the Kindness Project.
You're joined by who?
Two blokes who used to share a bunk bed.
She's joined by two blokes who used to share a bunk bed, Russ. That's true, isn't it?
Only one of us are glad we don't know, my love.
What one?
Probably you.
Because you can't
Well,
kick you
that's
from
true.
underneath
So
anymore.
are you sharing on this week's episode of the podcast, Russ, that you want to share a bunk bed with me? Because that's what it sounds like. What you said was one of us is glad we don't, and it's you. So does that mean,
Right.
Russ, and I might get emotional if the answer's yes, that you'd love to share a bunk bed with me again?
What that means for me is it was a very happy time in my life, and
Was it a very emotional experience, Russ? Are you getting emotional?
no,
Was it a happy time in your life because you got to
It was,
kick the
it
bottom
was
of Dad's
a very
bed?
happy time in my life.
Was it happy because you got to kick me through the bed, Russ?
No,
Was
I'm
that
not.
what
I will point out though that if the occasion ever arises again, I've got a lot longer legs now, so you might bounce a bit higher.
So if we were ever in a bunk bed, Russ, because I could get this going, right? If we were in a bunk bed, who's to say that I'd go top?
You probably wouldn't, knowing what's going to happen.
Exactly. You'd go top, and I'd do it to you for 4 hours. That's what that just to get you back for all those years of teasing.
Yeah,
But no,
I've never shared a bunk bed. She would have definitely kicked my bunk.
Well, we just didn't have the space to have our own rooms, did we? In
no,
Braintree?
we there was three of us, wasn't there? Me, you, and Kay, who's our sister, and the room just wasn't there.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, Russ, when Dad turned the loft into a insect laboratory, he could have turned that into another bedroom, couldn't he?
One of the
I mean, the crickets and the tarantulas had more space than us, relatively.
that is one of the best experiences of my childhood. That
What?
seeing,
cricket loft.
seeing the spiders and
Well, do you
the
remember going to the
scorpion.
insect shows as well?
yeah,
Dad always used to take us to like, I don't know, like
fantastic experiences. Yeah,
and you know what? You know what? It's made me realise how many like niche interests attract. And I don't know whether it's a UK thing or it's a global thing or what, but just niche stuff attracts a lot of people. Because I remember going. I mean, we used to go because like to all the computer events, didn't we? And they were always busy as a kid. But like how many niche shows just attract hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people?
I agree with that. But going back to the computer thing, when we was kids, they was like from the future. The computer, meaning
Has the dog got an answer, Russ? Our dog.
That's got an answer. Sorry, just hold on. It wasn't until the early 80s that sort of personal computing become possible.
It's true.
And when you look at sort of where that's come in terms of where we are now, that was like amazing at that time.
I mean, there used to be a show on years ago called Tomorrow's Wealth, right?
Yeah,
It's all
I
about the
remember it well.
innovations of the future. Now, if you looked at Tomorrow's Wealth from the 80s, it would just look like this weird time capsule that could.
Of retro tech.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of retro tech on it. There was a lot of predictions that they got wrong. But also there was a lot of stuff that looks old-fashioned because in 30 years, we've made so many, like 30, 40 years, we've made so many innovations in technology that it just looks like it looks like flat fashion. And who would have guessed YouTube in the 80s? Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed how easy? Who would have guessed driverless cars in the 80s?
Who would have guessed how dominant Facebook would be?
Yeah, I mean, social media just wasn't a concept that
The only way people connected back then was by the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a mobile; it was house phone.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like how our culture's changed as well, because but I'll think of a sentence that actually makes sense in a minute.
No, that one made sense.
I'm just going to spend some time saying we as a family haven't got a landline, have we?
No, not anymore.
I think we might have a landline phone number, but we just don't plug any landline phone in. Everything we do is mobile. And actually, I don't think...
Oh, I've got a landline. Most of my calls come through on the landline, but it's only because I get a bad signal from my mobile.
Yeah.
Well, I come directly to the phone. You send a message and don't look at it.
I got a call. Well, I was out with some friends last night, so I got a call. And apparently, the family takeaway had turned up, and Charlotte had no money to pay for it. Russ is just involved in some separate weird conversation. What are you chatting about, Russ?
I was talking to Kelly about something else.
Okay. Oh, for a podcast?
While we're doing the podcast, yeah.
Right, okay. Head in the game, Russ. Head in the game,
Russ
mate.
is not used to being involved. We usually just
Let me tell you what's happened. Somebody's phoned. Kelly works in a little cafe, and I was doing them a favour and managing their social media. Well, they're phoned to say we need something posted on the Facebook. Kelly don't seem to understand that I'm in the middle of something and it needs to be done now.
So a local Norfolk calf wants you to tweet for them or post on their
That's
Facebook.
correct.
Whilst we're recording a podcast
That's
has
exactly right.
tens of thousands
That's exactly
of
right.
listens. Get your priorities right, Kel. What's going
That's
on?
right.
Right.
Don't worry, I'll be having words with her when we're finished.
Oh my god!
No, don't. It's fine.
Both of you.
It's no big deal. I think we might be in a bit of trouble, Russ. On that note, let's move on to the question of the podcast, and that is: what exercise do you love, and what exercise do you hate? And we'll start this week because I shared that I love a bit of running. I love a bit of swimming. The exercise that I dislike the most, even though I know I do it, and I do a decent amount when I'm in classes, because I know it is good for you, is the burpee. I always dread a burpee. Charlotte just physically shivered at the thought of a burpee. She just went, it was like cartoonish style shivering at the thought of a burpee. Russ, what's your most favourite exercise and least favourite?
I like walking. I find it very cathartic. I don't do much of it now, but when I was walking a lot, it was
And do you walk with music? Do you like?
Not always. I just wander. I just like to wander. I don't like when I have to be somewhere. I start to rush.
Yeah.
So and then I panic.
That quick walking is called running, Russ. So just to be clear.
Then I panic. I'm going to be late.
That's called sprinting, Russ. When quick running, just let's go in the order of like relevance. Walking, you know what walking is.
Walk.
What's the speed difference?
Jog. Run. Sprint. Mad dash.
Mad dash. I've never heard that one. Is that quicker than a sprint? A mad dash.
Right.
What are you doing on a mad dash? What are your arms doing on a mad dash? Show me the arm. I mean, you didn't see that.
I don't do that,
How
mate.
do I describe that? Russ, describe that. Do the arm move again so Russ can describe it for the podcast. We are just going to describe what a mad dash arm movement looks like. Go on then. Go on. Shows a mad dash.
That's speed walking on too much caffeine, Nate.
Ah, see, right. So you can go for a really slow walk, stroll,
Yeah.
walk, power walk,
Yeah.
Jog. Run.
Yeah.
sprint, mad dash.
I don't run, sprint, or jog.
What, but you're happy for a mad dash?
It's more of a brisk
Would you like
walk.
to try a mad dash, Russ?
It's more of a brisk walk.
Brisk walk.
A mad dash is like a sprint, but you've added like
How late have you got to be to go from a sprint to a mad dash?
There's something about walking in the winter when it's dead cold. It just opens up the mind.
You know what? I think we've spoken about on the podcast before. There's that just element of being in nature as well, isn't there? You know, like sort of.
Well, I'm quite rural here, so
yeah.
Anywhere we go, we're within sort of a field in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Russ just starts walking. He looks down for 2 seconds. He looks up. He's
in a field.
He's surrounded by flies and mosquitoes, and they seem to follow me everywhere I go.
Yeah, so
sorry, this is more like I was just thinking about what I get surrounded by when I go to the woods.
You know what? That's more in the summer, isn't it?
No, all the time. Like we've got woods over the back, and every time I go through the woods, I get surrounded by flies and mozzies.
You know what? I mean, we are really lucky because even though we're in a bit more of a suburban area than you, you're definitely more rural. We have got a massive county park at the back of the house, where
full of flies and mozzie.
You're painting the beautiful county park like it's some sort of dystopian wasteland. I mean.
Oh, and a really nice hill, and if you go and sit at the top, the wind is really nice in your face.
Yeah, and you can look over London.
And it's really funny watching the dog stand with his face against the wind as it whips it.
I mean,
and it just pushes his moustache back.
Oh yeah, it does do that. Yeah, that is a good look. But the funniest thing about walking at the county park is, and you've been trying to persuade me for ages to do it. Come and have a look at this trailer, Dad. Well, I mean, like, I want to go out and go for a run in some beautiful nature. Every time I go over there with Charlotte, because we go out walking.
I thought it was a container.
We go out walking.
It's a shipping container, Dad.
She goes,
it's got stairs. It's more sophisticated than your
You know what, Dad? Come and have a look at this abandoned shipping container I found one day. I was like, I'm trying to do something nice.
Come and look at this abandoned shipping container I found.
Like a good container.
I mean, I don't think we're going to get on the County Park tourist board anytime soon because we are painting it as a dystopian wasteland with just one shipping container. But it's not.
When you go down to the shipping container, that is what it is.
It is lovely. But you know what? The mozzies, when I was training for, I think it was 2020 in the summer when it was really hot, I was running over there. Number one, same as you with walking, Russ, mental health wise, like it was really good. But then number two, I was training for this run, and I used to run over there a lot. But I used to get a mouthful of I don't know what because there's so many flies.
I found a dead one in my bag when I was walking over there one time.
Just popped in your bag.
They do.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'll do. I think I'm going to die. I'm just going to pop in Charlotte's bag and do it.
Well, I was sitting with my phone recording. Because I just like the sound the birds make, so I go and sit over there, and I used to sit and record the birds singing. And I was sitting in the wooded area on me hoodie and just recording the birds and listening to the birds.
Amazing! I didn't realise you did that.
I don't do it often.
Can we have some, Russ? Can we edit in some bird song recordings? If Charlotte,
not them singing, just them like chirping at each other. They were just like chirping at each other, like they were having a row. It was just,
were they singing or having a row? Because there's two different sounds.
I'm not being funny. It drives me mad.
Oh,
Listen,
God. What?
literally, from about 3 in the morning here, all I can hear is the birds in the tree behind me.
Right, last week on the podcast, we were talking about the importance of nature, and suddenly you're like, oh, yeah, get
Well,
rid of
you
them
know-
birds.
Nature?
Because next door used to have a tree and it used to overhang our garden, right? And there used to be birds that lived in that tree, and they used to wake me up every morning. And now they live on the roof and they wake me up every morning.
Sorry, are we saying nature's a good thing, or
Yes,
should we just
yes,
like?
This is
I like
exactly
it.
why
I like
farmers
it. I
have
like birds
shotguns.
waking me up in the mornings.
Yeah. He can't help having the hump, this boy, can he? Do you know what I mean? Oh, bloody birds.
No, I don't mind them, but when they're at it like all the time,
What are they doing?
they're tweeting at each other.
Yeah, they're sending a viral tweets.
Are they tweeting at each other? What are they tweeting? Because I've been on Twitter and literally.
Yeah, there's probably slander.
Yeah. But yeah, fair enough. I'd like to go there and like just a bird randomly sing a song I know. I'm thinking Rag and Bone Man Schumann. I'd love a bird.
Oh, I love a bit of Rag and Bone Man.
It starts singing like Wrecking Ball.
I mean, Russ, if you woke up, if the birds woke you up at 3 in the morning and they were singing Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball, you'd be impressed, wouldn't you? Would you like that? What song would you like them to
It's like
sing?
an orchestra.
I'd like them to sing either 7 Years or Mama Said
Well,
by
Lucas
Lucas
Graham.
Graham.
Now, I like a bit of Lucas Graham.
That's my go-to song at the moment.
What, 7 years?
7 Years or Mama Said.
Right. Is that Mama said there'll be days like this? Is that the one? No,
No.
that's different.
No, it goes, Mama said that we'll be all right. Mama said that we was good kids.
Is that your singing voice, Russ?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm loving a bit of Jamie T and Jamie Kennedy. Not Jamie Kennedy. I can't remember his name.
What,
Kennedy.
Not
Song
Nigel
by
Kennedy.
Jamie T that I might know.
Yeah, Sticks and Stones. Sheila goes out with her mate Stella. Gets full roll over. And if you got the money,
I think it would be fun.
yeah. So anyway, let's move on to the next part of the show, which is always called.
Kindness news. Sorry, I was channeling Russ there for a second.
Channeling Russ. Kindness news. Right, Russ.
News.
See,
That's him channeling me.
that who's channeling who? Are you channeling him?
That's my feminine voice.
I tell you what, he's full of surprises, isn't
I don't know if my voice can technically be considered feminine.
he? What's the technical evaluation of
I
that?
don't know. I've just been told I don't have a. Well, actually, someone told me once I laugh like a middle-aged woman, which
Oh, you laugh like a middle-aged woman.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's nice or not. I love your laugh. You know what?
Gee, thanks, mate.
Genuinely. Did you call me babe then?
That's like a slap with a wet fish.
Hey.
Isn't it? You laugh like a middle-aged woman.
Yeah. Russell laughs like a middle-aged woman. But no, genuinely, there is no more pleasing sound to me than my kids' laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like your laugh
Thanks,
is
Pops.
amazing. Sophie, when she laughs, like it just makes me happy.
I see you like the genuine one. I like the little maniacal one she has whenever a plan has gone right.
So you've painted the county park in this episode at the back of our house like dystopian wasteland, and you painted Sophie like some maniacal genius.
She is. She's a little like evil genius, like that little laugh. When
Why are you not doing Russ? I'm trying my best here as a dad, mate. Why are you?
like,
He's like an evil genius.
yeah, like her plan has gone completely to plan, and then like James Bond uncovering of the plan, and she like has this laugh, like she's been discovered, but it's too late for anything to stop her now. And she has this little laugh where she's like, "You can't stop me."
Well, how's it go, the laugh?
I can't replicate it. It's too like maniacal genius. I don't have that level of.
Fair enough. Right, let's move on to kindness news. Ireland offers basic income for artists. The Irish government is offering a €325 weekly basic income drive for artists. The concept of basic income is an interesting one, and there's a really good reason to be cheerful podcast talking about the weather economically. I think some of the Scandinavian countries are trialing basic income. That's basically everybody gets a minimum level of income, and effectively
You just earn on top of it.
You just earn on top of it. Taxes are higher, but everybody has that minimum standard of income so they can live their lives. And I think the arguments against a minimum level of basic income are it incentivizes people to want to work harder, but I think, and it's early days in these trials, so they haven't sort of said it definitively one way or the other. I think the early indicators is it actually doesn't. What it does is give people the grounding to take more risks and start more businesses.
Yeah, because they're less afraid of losing everything if they've got a guarantee.
Yeah, and I'm up for people living their life in the way that they should and taking some of the risks you need to get to live the life you want. So I don't know whether I'm completely sold on basic income as a concept that works, but I think it's one worth thinking about and trying. And it looks like they're doing that in Ireland at the minute. So the Irish government is offering a €325 weekly basic income trial for artists, which will last for 3 years. 2,000 artists will be randomly selected for all of the applicants. The government definition of artist is broad and covers any creative or interpretive expression, including visual arts, theatre, literature, music, dance, opera, film, circus, and architecture. The trial hopes to minimise the loss of skill and experience from the art sector, whilst also recognising the value that artists contribute to society.
Yeah, because a lot of people who like dream of doing art give up because it's not as financially lucrative as like I really want to write books and stuff. But like a lot of people have said you won't make money that way. But like, no offense.
But you know what? I mean, I literally. We will be publishing the Kindness Project book this year, and the reality is that I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it as an expression of creativity and to just put good stuff out in the world.
Oh, fire! You promised me riches from this. Why do I put all this?
Riches?
You'd be lucky if we sell 20 copies.
I mean, Russ, the book that I wrote in 2015. I'd still get the odd royalty check, and if I earn 23p a month, it's a good month. So
I'll have my cut 22p, and you two can share the penny.
Russ,
we talked about half penny sweets on the podcast the other day. I can't get them anymore. What am I going to do with half a penny a month?
Russ, can I just want to make a proposition. So you can have 10p a month. I'll have 10p a month and we're leaving with 3.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, I'll write the book.
Most important people here, and then we'll put you to the side.
So hold on. I come up with the idea for the podcast.
Well, I thought you said you weren't doing this for money. You weren't doing this for... So it's completely fine if me and Russ take the money. And you can have
the 20p. No, you can't. I'll just take. If you want to rob me of 20p, that's more important. Yeah, and the 20p. All right.
Did you come up with the idea for the podcast?
Sorry.
Did you come up with the idea for the podcast?
Yeah.
You told me pokies.
What do you mean?
When you phoned me all them years ago and said, "Yeah, get involved in this," Charlotte really wants to do a podcast.
But we came up with the idea collectively, and then I dragged you in, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then
After,
Dragged you in, Russ.
after your last podcast idea flopped.
Oh, God, what is this? I'm allowed to try stuff and then give up on it. All right, that is like.
Yeah.
What was my last podcast?
What was the last?
wanted to talk
Oh,
to
Common
the
Sense
world
Money you
record
wanted a
holders.
podcast for.
Oh,
And
yes.
you remember you made me compile that list of world record holders
I
and then,
still want to do
and then
that.
find all of their emails.
I still want to do
And
that,
it took
Russ.
me hours to do.
Russ. The time is 12:02, Sophie, as we're recording this. That is a good idea for a podcast.
But yeah,
Well,
well, if someone still has the list of world record holders,
We can get a new one. But yeah, I am, and this is my vow to the listeners and you, Russ, and you, Charlotte. At some point in the future, I am actually a world record holder, right? I am actually a world record holder.
you're
Right.
a fraction of a world
I've
record
got,
holder.
right, hold on. I've got a certificate that tells me that I am a world record holder.
Mhm.
Part of it.
Okay, now I did participate in the biggest virtual mass participation event because I ran the London Marathon in 2020 when it was all locked down. And I've got the certificate, Russ, saying you are amazing. You are officially a world record holder.
Well, as I'm
Now, I know that
concerned,
it's only 1/48,000th of a world record.
as
and
far as I'm
you need to
concerned,
get your
that's
own one.
still a world record, though.
Huh?
You're still listed in that world record.
Yeah. Why are you looking doubtful, Charlotte?
Doesn't count, does it?
It doesn't count.
Coming,
Right, all right.
coming from somebody that's not got a world record, that's an obvious
Okay.
jealousy.
Jealousy,
Doesn't
envy.
count.
Yeah,
We've
it's
got what, 4
jealousy.
or 5 world record books in our shelf down the garage.
Right.
If your name is listed in one of them, I will rescind my statement. But I'm telling you, it's not.
Oh God!
I'm going to see if I can
All right,
find your world
right,
record.
This is
Your
my
name in a world record online now.
this is my promise to you. I am going to try. Just rescind her statement. I will rescind my statement. I'm gonna try genuinely to get my own one. All right. I'm not a 1 in 48,000th share of one. I'm gonna try once I've got the book done to get my own world record. Is that all right, chaps? Can we get on with this news article now?
Bit late for that, isn't it?
No, we were talking about we were talking about last week on the podcast. I will rescind my statement. You will rescind your statement, trust me. We were talking on the podcast last week about how in life it's never too late, is it, Russ? So is it too late at the age of 44 to still aspire to at some point get a world record?
No, it would be great.
Why are you
We
going to
could
get
somehow get this podcast a world record.
Yeah, Russ. Why are you
That'd
working
be-
on that? If I'm getting that
That'd be quite cool.
That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it, Russ?
That'd be quite cool.
Yeah.
Would we then
I would then have
start
to...
a world record podcast, Russ?
Well, we have talked about when this one ends, we'll do another one. So maybe
You want to do a business one, Russ, don't you?
well, we
No, that's a bit boring, Russ.
Oh, yeah, Russ, it's boring, Russ. What do you want to do a business one for, Russ?
I was looking at that, but the world record one sounds cool. And it's constantly evolving because people are always getting new world records.
Exactly.
And we won't run out of guests.
Exactly. Okay, right. So let's move back to this news article that's just completely gone south. The trial hopes to minimise the loss of skill and experience from the art sector, whilst also recognising the value that artists contribute to society. In addition, the trial is aimed to prove that basic income enables artists to focus on projects without their projects being impacted from the stress of needing to look for work in other sectors to sustain them. Artists who apply, who are not one of the randomly selected to receive the payment, will be offered the opportunity to join a control group study to compare their outcomes versus people who receive the payment. The policy was announced by Ireland's Minister for the Arts, Catherine Martin, who is a member of the Ireland's Green Party. The Green Party are one of 3 parties in a coalition government in Ireland when launching the policy, Martin said, "I believe that this scheme is a start of a fundamental change in the way Ireland supports and recognises her artists and the arts community." Martin went on to say, "This pilot scheme represents a groundbreaking opportunity for us to explore how the role of the artist in Irish society can be protected and nurtured so we can continue to be inspired by great art for generations to come." I love that idea. And again, like any new idea, the trial is interesting because you just try it and see if it works. Like my failed podcast before, it's just...
Oh, that one never even got off the ground. I don't think you even made one episode.
No.
How was it you failed at that one?
He didn't start
I didn't record an episode, Russ.
Oh, well.
That's probably the reason
He
it failed.
made me and you do all the research and then didn't record an episode.
Look, right, come on, chaps. As consistency goes, doing the podcast once a week for nearly 5 years is pretty decent, isn't it?
No, it's not been 5 years, has it?
4 years?
4.5, yeah.
4.5, nearly 5. Yeah. Charlotte's looking confused.
I'm trying to think how old I would have been when we started this.
You were 14. Yeah. We've been doing it that long.
Yeah, 4.5.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So let's talk about the next bit of great news from the Good News Hub. Thank you to the guys at www.thegoodnewshub.com. Scientists successfully grow plants in soil from the moon.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. I've never heard a newsreader do that, to be honest. Oh, hello.
They should. It'd make the news a lot more interesting.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Trevor. Hello.
I'd love
That's
Trevor.
the name of the person who wrote the news article.
Trevor?
No, it's not. It's Abraham.
Thank you, Abraham Fletcher, for writing this. Oh, hello, Abraham.
Back in 1971, David Bowie asked if there was life on Mars. Over 50
I can
years.
tell him. No, there's not.
There was that moon rover who said that sad message when he died.
Yeah, but he was a robot, wasn't he?
Over 50 years later, whilst we may still be a while away from sustainable life on Mars, we are a step closer to it on the moon. Scientists from the University of Florida have successfully planted cress seeds in soil collected from the moon by astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin during the Apollo 11 mission. The cress seed experiment charted the growth of cress in the soil from the moon, with soil from Earth as the control. In week 1, the seed all sprouted into seedlings, with the moon crest tracking similarly to the crest within the Earth soil. In the second week, Earth crest surpassed the seedlings grown in the lunar soil. However, their growth still impressed the scientists. For their first week or so of life, there was really no difference between the controls and the lunar plants. There wasn't something inherently toxic to the plants in lunar regolith, or soil, that would prevent plants from growing, says biologist Annalisa Paul. University of Florida geologist Stephen Elardo said that was the first step in what's going to hopefully be a very long, multi-decade process of figuring this stuff out. And when we go back to the moon, doing it on lunar surface, first step. NASA Chief Bill Nelson said, "This research is critical to NASA's long-term human exploration goals, as we'll need to use resources found on the moon and Mars to develop food sources for future astronauts living and operating in deep space."
Amazing. So that is the first step for us growing
It's one
plants
small
on
step
the moon.
for mankind.
Did you like the pun? I heard
It wasn't even in there because it just said first step, and I read that and I was like, it's one step.
I mean, the fact that you're adding content, and again, it's something that I've not seen newsreaders do. Just turn around and go, "Oh, first step," or just add their own little jokes in halfway through a news article. But I like it. It's a good. You've got your own unique news reading style. I really enjoy it. And on that note, we've got part 1 of our
interview with Kevin Gaskell. Now, Kevin Gaskell is a business leader. He's run big car organisations in the past, and he is also with the book Inspired Leadership, and he's also got a new book coming out soon about his journey across the Atlantic in a rowing boat, where one of his values that he had to make sure that everybody in the team stood by was, you've got to be kind, because there's no avoiding each other when you're in a boat for a number of weeks rowing the Atlantic. So we speak to Kevin, really interesting guy, really enjoyed the chat. Here's part one of the interview. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on the Kindness Project. How are you today?
I'm very well, thanks. It's Friday. I've just got back from the gym, so I'm feeling energized, so I'm really good.
So talk to me about the gym then. So is it early mornings are your habit? You know, you like to get it done and get out of the way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but I do expeditions. My hobby is to do expeditions, and to do those, I've got to keep my fitness level up.
100%.
And you know, I'm no spring chicken anymore, so I need to do it pretty much every day. So I typically do 5 or 6 days a week, about 90 minutes, and I mix it up between gym work, cycling, rowing, and dragging tires around the local woods.
You know what I like? I mean, I do I'm similar to you. I'd probably do about 5 days a week. My favourite session during the week is a Saturday, because then I get to go outside and I do like a sort of an outdoor boot camp. Flipping tires is great fun, right?
Yeah.
No, it's good stuff. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a civil engineer by training.
Yeah.
Grew up in the northwest of England and in North Wales. Studied civil and structural engineering at university. Always wanted to be a civil engineer, became a civil engineer, then decided I wanted to do something different. Studied for an MBA, did an MBA, studied accountancy. So as I say, I can read a blueprint and I can read a balance sheet. And then I worked at a large chemical business for 4 years as plant accountant. And then I joined Porsche. Porsche were looking for somebody who could be the interface between the commercial team and the engineering team. And I took that role. And over the next 5 years, I worked my way up through the company until I found myself in a position where the company was in deep and desperate trouble.
Right.
And much to my surprise, they appointed me managing director. And I was 32 years old. I was as green as grass. And my job was to fix the business, which we did. You know, we built a fantastic team spirit. We had a great team, but they needed leading. And so we changed the mindset and pulled together a fantastic culture. And within 4 years, we took the business from number 32, which it was in the marketplace, out of 32 brands. We were the bottom of the market to number 1.
How's that measured? How do they? Because I suppose that, you know, there's sort of motor brands out there that are, you know, higher end, sell less units but niche. How do they measure the brand element?
Well, we did it on customer satisfaction. So there's a national customer satisfaction survey. And, you know, I was never going to sell more cars than Ford.
Yeah.
But to me, the key ingredient to success was when the customers say you're the best in the market.
Yeah.
And that's really what we were trying to get to. And that's where we got the business.
Amazing. Do you think that sort of having a group of the numbers and having a grip of the sort of engineering element of building the product was quite a unique combination? One of the reasons that you managed to do the job well.
Well, it seems to be. I've never considered it that way. I mean, I studied engineering because I was interested, and I studied accountancy because I did want that skill. I knew I wanted to run businesses.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, it's been fortunate for me that I can look at a business from both aspects, from the operational aspect and from the financial aspect. And so I'd left Porsche, I ran BMW for 5 years where we had huge success. But again, doing the same things, you know, engaging the team, building a culture of determination and passion. And then I walked away.
Yeah.
And I walked away at the age of 40 to build my own technology business, which went on to be very successful. And I've been building tech businesses ever since. So I've had 20 years now of building technology businesses. I think I'm on number 15 now.
Okay.
And I just have a lot of fun doing it and working with people who share the passion, and we go out and create something so extraordinary. Because, talking about the numbers, I don't believe that the way to build anything successfully, take business, is to say, right, we've got to hit this number.
No.
It's not about that. It's about saying, we want to build something that's extraordinary. And we as a team want to build something that we can look back on and say, hey, look what we did, and be proud of it. And so my leadership approach is about engaging the team and inspiring the team to build something that is extraordinary.
I suppose that's the secret sauce, isn't it? You can have the best qualifications, engineering, and a really good grip and understand the numbers, but if you don't inspire the people, and I know we're going to be speaking about this quite a lot today, if you don't inspire people to come with you on that journey, it's going to be a lot more difficult, right?
Well, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, I always differentiate between the word motivation and the word inspiration.
Yeah.
Motivation is short term. I can motivate you tomorrow. I'll give you a pay rise, and that'll last for 3 months, and then the kind of excitement of that goes away. But if I can inspire you to come into the business every day and give your best and have fun doing it and contribute to building something that's extraordinary, that's self-fulfilling, and it goes on, and that's my approach to leadership.
And it links to those intrinsic motivations, doesn't it? Not the extrinsic motivations of just a bit more cash. It's like, what do we want to achieve with our lives that is inspirational? That's the interesting thing. And talk to me about the book. So really exciting time for you at the minute, because the book is coming out next week. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the book is called Catching Giants, and that's how I believe we approached the Atlantic rowing race, which we finished just over 2 years ago now. It's a race from Spain to Antigua in an open rowing boat. We were novice rowers. We'd never rowed in our lives until 2 years before we did the race. And we took the view that we wanted to go and do something extraordinary. And I mentioned a minute ago that my hobby is expeditions. I climb mountains, I walk to crazy places, but I'd never rowed an ocean. I'd never rowed. And we decided that as 5 novice rowers in an open rowing boat, we were going to break the world record for the fastest crossing of the Atlantic, which is a completely outrageous and arrogant thing to say. But, why not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we took the lessons that we'd learned from business about planning, about inspiration, about the culture, about organization, about process, and we applied it to our preparation for the race. And then we went out and we set rowing from Spain, and we thought we were in pretty good shape until the first night, when we got absolutely hammered in a storm. We've got 3-4 meter waves coming over the top of the boat. This is an open rowing boat with half a meter freeboard above the water. We're down at water level.
Yeah. You're feeling every wave, right?
Oh, you're feeling every wave. I mean, the boat is all over the place. Yeah. And at one point, we had a massive wave hit us and snap 2 of the oars. So we're completely out of control now. And the book is the adventure story of how do you row across an Atlantic? How do you actually do that? What's it like to be on that little boat facing the ocean? And then the other side of the page is, and what are the lessons for business from that?
Yeah.
So, what do you take out of that situation? And, 35 days, 19 hours and 50 minutes later, we pulled into Antigua as new world record holders, which was quite extraordinary.
What I'm interested in is how that all started. So is it just 5 people you knew having a chat in a pub? Yeah, how does that all start in terms of the idea all the way through to just getting in the boat day one?
Well, it originally started because a very good friend of mine, a guy called Peter Van Ketz, had rowed across the Atlantic twice.
Right.
And he and I were speaking at the same conference, and he said to me, Kev, you should do it. You'd love it. You love adventures. You'd love rowing the ocean. I said, Peter, you're nuts. I don't know anything about rowing. I don't know anything about navigation on an ocean. I said, I'd just end up dead. He said, no. He said, I'm sure you could do it. I said, no, you're nuts, and I'm not doing it. So I went away, and this thing kind of filtered into my brain, and it goes round and round and round.
It's one of those ideas that percolates, I'd imagine,
Yeah, it percolates.
Like,
And you do a little bit of research, and you start looking, you think, interesting. And then I was speaking at a conference. And I was speaking at a conference in Monaco to 300 marine industry employees.
Right.
And at the end, there was a question. Excuse me, Kev, what's your next adventure? Because I use pictures from my adventures to make business points.
Yeah.
I talk about trust. We talk about kindness. We talk about treating people properly. And so I use examples from the expeditions to say, here was the situation, here's how we dealt with it. Let's translate that into business. And so I'd shown some photographs of the expeditions, and one guy said to me, what's your next expedition? And I said, what do I say? Because I haven't got one planned. And then I thought, well, I've just been speaking to Peter. I said, well, actually, I've been kicking around the idea of rowing across the Atlantic. Anybody want to come with me? And you get 300 people laugh, and then it goes away. And I thought, well, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
But this guy didn't give up. So afterwards, he came and found me when we're all standing around having a chat. And he said, were you serious? And I said, well, I don't know anything about rowing, don't know anything about navigation on an ocean, don't know anything about sea survival, but other than that, I'm good to go. And he said, well, I'll come with you. And I've got 2 mates who'll do it as well. And it's a 4-man boat.
Yeah.
So it kind of went from there, and then it spun up, and then I told my son, and I've done all the other adventures with my son. And I told him, and he said, well, that's me in as well. So that's 5 of us.
Right.
So we're 5 men. And there's a 5-man world record. We're going to beat it. And I said to them, guys, you're all in your 20s. I'm in my 60s.
Yeah.
If you want to break the world record, then row across with me now. Let me show you how to run an expedition and train you in organization and all of that side of it.
And then do it again with somebody who's 20.
Exactly. You do it again with another young guy, and you break the world record. And they said, no, we're going to do it with you. And that's what we did.
Amazing. I love that. That, my friends, was part 3 of the interview with Catherine. Let's move on to the end of the show.
'Tis the end of another podcast, but the end is never truly the end, because the end is always the beginning of something entirely new. And once again, that is last week's question of the podcast, answered by you guys. Messages sent this week. And last week's question was, what kids' TV character are you most like, and why? In the post, you've put extra points if it's a Sesame Street character. So Steve Dan said Fozzie Bear. I think I'm others. I think I'm funny. Others just grown.
I mean, Steve's jokes are pretty I'm guilty of a bad dad joke, but Steve is, the dad jokes are bad.
Steve Chilton has just put a picture of, I think that's Oscar the Grouch.
Oscar the Grouch. And Steve wins this week because that is also a Sesame Street character.
Christy Mike said, I know a few counts if that helps.
No, it doesn't, Mike. Thank you for being rude on the podcast. Is it going to take a while for you to?
Yeah.
No. Anyway, on that note, that is it for another episode of the Kindness Project. We will see you next week, and see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.